get into your head. I try to do the right thing, living my life with the words that I sing. Now tell me, I wanted to know what happened to my best friend. As days turn to weeks and weeks turn to years, I feel for my brother, feel for my brother. And as time passes by, I see you're not satisfied. Oh, I feel for my brother, feel for my brother. I miss you, man. You're my brother. I said I love you, babe. I won't forget you, no. Oh, no, no. Oh, no, no, no. Sometimes I feel life is cheap. Everything's disposable and so are we. Can you hear me? Life is real, yeah. And if there's a heaven above, please start showing a brother real love. 'Cause I wanna go home. Oh, I feel for my brother. I miss you, man. Oh, I feel for my brother. You're my brother. I feel for my brother. Oh, no, no. Feel for my brother. I wanna go home. I feel for my brother. I won't forget you, no. I feel for my brother. I feel for my brother. I feel. Oh, I feel for my brother. I feel for my brother. Oh, I feel for my brother. Feel for my brother. You know, a lot of my brothers are dead or gone, but they've been hanging on the block a little too long. What can I say? I hope they live to see a brighter day. And the ones that are doing fine, God bless you, 'cause you're doing fine. At the end of the day, don't forget about me. As days turn to weeks and weeks turn to years, oh, I feel for my brother. And as time passes by, I see you're not satisfied. Oh, I feel for my brother. Feel for my brother. The street life used to be on, straight up hustling till the break of dawn. Taught me how to do wrong right, everything inside. But somehow things started to change. Try to get us straight up out of the game. You couldn't see what I saw. The empire was starting to fall. And everything that I said never seemed to get into your head. I tried to do the right thing, living my life with the words that I sing. Now tell me, I wanted to know what happened to my best friend. As days turn to weeks and weeks turn to years, I feel for my brother, feel for my brother. And as time passes by, I see you're not satisfied. Oh, I feel for my brother, feel for my brother. I miss you, man. You're my brother. I said I love you, babe. I won't forget you, no. Oh, no, no. Oh, no, no, no. Sometimes I feel life is cheap. Everything's disposable and so are we. a brother real low. 'Cause I wanna go home. Oh, I feel for my brother. I miss you, man. Oh, I feel for my brother. You're my brother. I feel for my brother. Oh, no, no. Feel for my brother. I wanna go home. I feel for my brother. I won't forget you, no. I feel for my brother. I feel for my brother. I feel, oh, I feel for my brother. I feel for my brother. Oh, I feel for my brother. Feel for my brother. You know, a lot of my brothers are dead or gone, but they've been hanging on the block a little too long. What can I say? I hope they live to see a brighter day. And the ones that are doing fine, God bless you, 'cause you're doing fine. At the end of the day, don't forget about me. As days turn to weeks, and weeks turn to years, oh, I feel for my brother. And as time passes by, I see you're not satisfied. Oh, I feel for my brother. Feel for my brother. The street life used to be on, straight up hustling till the break of dawn. Taught me how to do wrong right, everything inside. But somehow things started to change. Try to get us straight up out of the game. You couldn't see what I saw. The empire was starting to fall. And everything that I said never seemed to get into your head. I tried to do the right thing, living my life with the words that I sing. Now tell me, I wanted to know what happened to my best friend. As days turn to weeks, and weeks turn to years, I feel for my brother. Feel for my brother. And as time passes by, I see it unsatisfied. Oh, I feel for my brother. Feel for my brother. I miss you, man. You're my brother. I said I love you, babe. I won't forget you, no. Oh, no, no. Oh, no, no, no. It's time to feel life is cheap. Everything's disposable and so are we. Can you hear me? Life is real, yeah. And if there's a heaven above, please start showing a brother real love. 'Cause I wanna go home. Oh, I feel for my brother. I miss you, man. Oh, I feel for my brother. You're my brother. I feel for my brother. Oh, no, no. Feel for my brother. I wanna go home. I feel for my brother. I won't forget you, no. I feel for my brother. I feel for my brother. I feel, oh, I feel for my brother. I feel for my brother. for my brother. Feel for my brother. Yeah, we in the house, y'all. Just give us a couple of minutes. We still got 8 minutes before the show starts. I just wanted to send out a notification early. And I know y'all saw the title, so you know we got the firecracker in the house right now. That's all I'm saying. See y'all at 4 o'clock. God bless you, because you're doing fine. At the end of the day. Big shout out to Leslie Latimer in the house. What's up, Les? And as time passes by, I see you not satisfied. Oh, I feel for my brother. Feel for my brother. The street life used to be on. Straight up hustling till the break of dawn. Taught me how to do wrong right. Everything inside. But somehow things started to change. Try to get us straight up out of the game. You couldn't see what I saw. The empire was starting to fall. And everything that I said never seemed to get into your head. I tried to do the right thing, living my life with the words that I sing. Now tell me, I wanted to know what happened to my best friend. As days turn to weeks and weeks turn to years, I feel for my brother. Feel for my brother. And as time passes by, I see you're not satisfied. Oh, I feel for my brother. Feel for my brother. I miss you, man. You're my brother. I said I love you, babe. I won't forget you, no. Oh, no, no. Oh, no, no, no. Sometimes I feel life is cheap. Everything's disposable and so are we. Can you hear me? Life is real, yeah. And if there's a heaven above, please start showing a brother real love. Cause I wanna go home. Oh, I feel for my brother. I miss you, man. Oh, I feel for my brother. You're my brother. I feel for my brother. Oh, no, no.
Hey, y'all hear me?
Yeah, we hear you, Stan.
All right, cool.
4 minutes to showtime, y'all. We are here, and guess what? We're actually on time today. That's great. No technical issues, knock on wood. All right. And y'all are sharing y'all are sharing out of control right now. We're at 59 shares already off the cuff. So the shares are going out. We're seeing all that information in real time. Thank you. Awesome. All right, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. We hit it. Got a great show for you today, too. Oh, you're about to see some stuff and hear some stuff. Y'all don't know who came in the house today. Y'all got a hint. Y'all saw the title. But we're going to hear some things. I know what's going on, man. At the end of the day, yep. Don't forget about boom, boom. Stan is in the field today, by the way. Stan is not in studio. Get ready to go to work. everything inside. But somehow things started to change. Try to get us straight up out of the game. You couldn't see what I saw.
Big shout out to Byron is in the room right now. Jose El Moran is in the room. Lydia Temples is in the room. Saundrea Cohen is watching. Of course she's watching. She's on the show. Leslie Latimer is in the house. Suzette Ellison is watching. I see y'all punching in. We're going to get started. Emily Johnson and Georgia Watkins is watching. What's up, Ann? Hen Grant is watching. And guess what? 30 seconds. And it's time for me to hit the button. Chat room's going to be alive today, I can tell. Okay, gang. Let's go to work. You are now tuned into the NYCHA show, and we do this show every Sunday from 4 o'clock. Let me crack the mics. From 4 o'clock until 5 o'clock. We got a special guest in the house. The weather in New York City today is 73 degrees, mostly cloudy, with showers on and off. Mm-hmm. That's what's happening. Big shout out to all of y'all.
Yeah, welcome.
Absolutely. Listening on the LIE today. I saw y'all. Traffic was heavy on my way in. But
share.
Because I know y'all listen in the cars sometimes. So, you know what I mean? Like, big shout out to all y'all. Big shout out to everybody that just did the shares. We're like at 60 shares since I hit the button. Is that about right?
Yeah, it's like crazy today.
Yeah, that is awesome.
Some people must know who's on the show today.
Big shout out to Carmen Quiones. She's watching. What's up, Carmen? It's good to see you. I'm monitoring the chat room from my phone. All right. So check it out. Everybody else, share. Stan is on the Zoom today, by the way.
Yeah.
All right. And I'm going to stop it. Bang. Once again, welcome to the NYCHA show. We do this show every Sunday from 4 o'clock till 5 o'clock. And, we go over everybody's week. Unfortunately, Stan couldn't be in the studio today. Mm-hmm. Stan, where you at, Stan?
I'm in South Carolina, man. Taking some time out with my family, enjoying myself thoroughly.
All right, we're going to get to Stan in a minute. We got Stan on Zoom, but that's so awesome that he's taking some time to really chill. And we're going to talk about that. My week was a very simple, well, it's been very busy. Actually, it wasn't a simple week. This week and this weekend, I've been working on doing the voiceovers for the New York City Universal Hip Hop Museum concert series that's going on in the Bronx, Queens, Staten Island, and Brooklyn. New York City is paying all of these artists to perform at these different events. The first event is at Orchard Beach, August 16th, and it will be artists from the Bronx actually representing the Bronx. So you have like Remy Ma, Kev Rockwell, Joeski Love, KRS-One, the Fantastic Five from Grand Wizard Theodore. Grandmaster Melly Mel is performing the first five.
Theodore.
Yeah, Grand Wizard Theodore. Yeah.
So I know Theodore Cuts Galore.
Theodore Cuts Galore is going to be there.
Well, yeah, he's still out. Friends on Facebook.
So it's a whole thing that's going on, and I've been doing the voiceovers. So when you see the commercials and everything, you're going to hear my voice, the 30-second commercial particularly on me, talking about the show, and then I introduced a lot of the artists that are coming on. So that was my week. Saundrea, what's going on with you? I know you were active.
Yeah. Well, greetings all. My week has been busy and blessed as always. Just, checking on residents, reminding people that, about the eviction moratorium. It has been extended. So that's a good thing for people. But still get your ERAP application in if you are behind in your rent. That is very essential because we do not want to impact the homeless crisis that we already have in this country, and especially in New York City, New York State. So please, fill it out. Don't be ashamed. To my understanding, if people went for public assistance, they are sending you to ERAP first, because with ERAP, once again, you do not have to pay that back. And then there's other options and stuff like that. So we don't want no one to, lose their housing. Other than that, the vigil is still going strong. We will have a special day on tomorrow at the vigil because tomorrow is the anniversary of Michael Brown's death. He was killed in Ferguson, Missouri 7 years ago by Darren Wilson. And, as you know, his body was on the streets for 4 hours. So we will have a special vigil tomorrow night, and then we'll go back, move back into Friday. Just helping residents. Poor neighbor got locked out in their apartment. So trying to help people with that. They have some other issues. And, I don't want to talk about the COVID, but please, 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 be safe, be conscious, get masked up. Shout out to Florida, they're really going through it. And Malaysia, some others, country, India, they're really going through it and people are dying and this virus is serious. So please, I lost family members as well out in Florida. Please mask up. If you don't want to get vaccinated, mask up. If you're vaccinated, mask up. It's very important. And just keeping everything going and alive and just helping people. If you need something, let One NYCHA know. We are here for you. Yeah.
Word. So now I'm flipping to the other side of the table, and I really didn't want to do this yet. You know what I'm saying? But unfortunately, she's sitting in the chair. You know what I'm saying? And so the way I'm gonna swing this thing, I got to swing the mic first.
Okay. You don't want to go to a stand first, then?
Oh well, you know what? Oh my bad.
Don't leave me out, even though I'm not there in the studio. Don't leave me out.
That's okay. Because we want to reserve, I guess, for a minute.
Yeah, let me see you, Stan.
You got people on ice, man. So you gotta give us some time.
No, she's gonna be on time. She's here.
There you go.
I know.
Camera. How was your week, man?
My week is first one. I'm down in South Carolina, and I just want to reiterate what Saundrea is saying. This is Trump territory, and it is amazing how much people are not wearing a mask. I'm kind of shocked being in New York. We kind of wear it more, more often. But down here, a lot of folks are not. So that is really surprising. So definitely people should mask up. They're not taking it serious down here. I can tell you that for a fact. But my week has been busy. I want to give a big shout out to all the Ravenswood residents who are doing a big job organizing our community meeting we're going to have on this coming Tuesday. A big shout out to Carmen Santiago, Brenda Diaz, Elizabeth McCarran, Mike Jones, Flip, Irma Beans, Deja, Georgia Watkins. These are folks who are handing out flyers, putting up information about the meeting. So I think this is great. We're developing a lot of strong leadership in Ravenswood where it's horrible. As I always stated, I believe they're the worst management office that I've dealt with in NYCHA, in terms of the way they treat the residents. So we're gonna now continue this fight and build up some real leadership there, leading up to a lawsuit against Ravenswood. We are launching our lawsuit against Queensbridge this month, so look out for that. We're gonna have a press conference. We want NYCHA folks to come on down. So Andrea, we probably ask you to come and speak, to let residents know what you guys have done at Holmes Towers, Holmes Isaacs, to really lead the way for residents. We want to encourage other residents to step up. But we're fighting for the lack of repairs. That's what the lawsuit's about. Yeah. We want to say that Black Lives Matter in NYCHA. It's not just the fact that repairs are not being done, but people are literally dying. So we're gonna bring that out. Big shout out to Queens Legal Services, our attorneys who are leading the fight. So definitely check out for that lawsuit. We're gonna bring the noise in Queensbridge, then in Ravenswood, in Astoria, and then in Woodside. And then hopefully other developments will take heed too, but the person on the show, I'll let y'all introduce her, but I just want to say she's a personal inspiration to me. When I first got into the organizing, she's one of the first tenants that I dealt with. And I was just amazed, at her leadership, her courage, her knowledge, her dedication, and she's everything that NYCHA residents to look to in terms of leadership. She's been in this fight for a minute, not showing no weakness at all in this fight. She holds NYCHA accountable. So I'm gonna be quiet and I'm gonna let y'all give her more of an introduction. She's a NYCHA leader and a NYCHA hero. So you guys are in for a treat today.
That's Dan. All right. Yeah. It's a nice way. That's a nice way.
Oh man.
Yeah, we gotta go over there though, right? We gotta go over there. Yeah.
I gotta do it.
But Stan, we are gonna support, the lawsuit because remember, yes, it's not just us, but it was a couple other developments that sued too. But we are gonna support because people need to understand that don't expect, miracles overnight. This is a long fight. We're pushing on 2 years now. So, and let me just read this as 2 sentences. Because I put this on Twitter today, and this is very important. We, the residents, demand a independent investigative commission to be formed within NYCHA to assess the systemic failures that have impacted the health of residents. We also want them to track illnesses of tenants and uncover the correlation. Because remember the Dr. Rojas Flores we had on?
Yeah.
He showed a picture today from Carver houses and saying how this can breed, some of the diseases and illnesses. So we need help, and we need to start this movement. But I'm gonna be quiet for now, and
Because I know
swing it.
I know she's gonna go off.
Mhm.
So give me 1 second. Let me just acknowledge the chat room real
Yeah.
quick. Carmen wants to know where's the vigil at. Carmen Keown is. She also
80
posted. Where's it at?
86 and East End Avenue. We've been there over 400 days.
86 and East End.
Avenue, Carl Schutz Park, 7 p.m. tomorrow. We're out there tonight too, but 7 p.m. tomorrow. And then we're out on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday still. UES for BLM.
Right. And Carmen's still running for city council. She's on the independent line. Vote November 2nd. And Watkins, she says, we have no water as we speak.
What?
Yep.
What
Carmen.
development is she in?
That's Ravenswood.
Ravenswood.
That's Ravenswood.
Yeah,
Wow.
I helped her with something. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I put her in touch with
Nice.
Stan. Yeah.
Carmen says Jefferson, no gas for a year. Officials need to advocate for these residents. And great letter. Oh, okay. Emily said, great letter. Yes, we need help.
Yeah.
And now introducing my guest and always active in the chat room, the one and only, the unsinkable Kim Tyre.
Hey.
With the music.
I got the music going. Oh, I gotta go to Mike. I got so excited.
No, it's okay. Let her go.
Yeah.
Then we'll let her go. We're gonna let her go since she did it, and then we're gonna bring it to you.
Because she's had a big week, I'm sure.
Yes.
Well, she had a big week, and I'm just going to sum it up real quick. I know that I was in them schools, building them studios. I'm just keep it real simple because, the special guest is here, and it's all about the special guest right now, not about me.
We were going to get to you, though, but go ahead.
I built some studios in the schools. We got plenty more schools to do. And also, it's I'm not taking the credit. Lorenzo's putting a lot of work in, but it's a back to school event coming up in Ravenswood on the 28th of August.
Awesome.
Yes.
And that's in the 21st. It should be in Queensbridge, a back to school. But once again, I just had to sum that up real quick. Let me get to the special guest.
Kim Tyre, what is going on? And it's so good to not see you in the chat room.
Yeah.
That was seeing you right here in the chair, live
flesh.
and direct. We love that.
Kim
What's happening?
Tyre, sit
And
up.
come on, close to the mic. Come on,
Yeah.
come on.
Own it. It's yours.
Yeah.
First and foremost, I'm glad to be here in person, live with all of you.
Yes.
And I've had a busy week dealing with a personal health crisis of my own. And that's it. That's it for the week. I was just been dealing with that health crisis and trying to get a resolution for the health crisis that I've been having.
Okay.
Gotcha.
So how's things going in Jefferson houses? Tell us about your fight.
Well, it's been an ongoing fight with the Jefferson houses for the last 5 to 6 years.
Wow.
And the fight started all in 2014 when I had a situation in my apartment with the repairs and the vermin and so forth and so on. So I took it upon myself after getting counsel, and counsel has not been advantage for the people in NYCHA, so to speak. I took it upon myself to go out on a limb and do my one woman rent strike show.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Hold on, wow.
Yeah.
So you're doing a rent strike solo, just you.
Just me by myself, because I didn't know that there was organizations that were doing community organizing work around NYCHA and around housing issues in particular. So I just took it upon myself to see that when I had it was called Right to Counsel,
Mhm.
and it goes according to zip codes. And oftentimes enough, they only work with you when you have rent arrears. They don't necessarily work with you to hold NYCHA accountable. So I was looking to hold NYCHA accountable, because NYCHA has a tendency to take you to court for non-payment, but they don't tell you, they don't emphasize there's a reasoning behind a person not paying. A person just doesn't pay because they're not responsible. So with that being said, I said to myself, I'm going to do something different. And me doing it solo, they could have easily evicted me to the street.
Right.
But that's where I had faith and said, I'm going to go and I'm going to do this. I'm not going to pay. And it's been since 2018 that I have not paid, and I have no intentions of paying. And I don't have no problem with openly saying that I'm not going to pay. I have my apartment, I have documentation that all the repairs that need to be done in my apartment, I have it on 2 college students from Columbia University have came to my apartment, have did a film documentary on my apartment. I have paperwork stating that in 2016, I filed HV hearings on my own. I filed them in 2017, 2018, and every year thereafter. I even had the inspector, which is crazy because the inspector works for the person of the city of New York. So how can they come in to inspect your apartment and say this is set situation is happening, but yet and still nothing is being done? And when they came into my apartment, the inspector said he has worked in the inspector for 20 years and he has, excuse my language, he have never seen no foolishness like my apartment. And I've had all the inspector dogs come to my apartment. I didn't even know that they had dogs.
Inspector dogs.
Inspector dogs.
Like physical wolf dogs, or like a canine.
And yeah, K9.
Okay.
He came to my apartment and he said,
Wow.
He said, oh my God, this is craziness. Now, if a dog, the inspector bring the dog, and make a long story short, he said, ma'am, I need to put the dog on, tie the dog up. I said, what happened with the dog? And he said, the dog is getting really sick. I said, so can you imagine me and my family living in this apartment?
Wow.
And it's that serious. And NYCHA has a tendency, they'll take you to court for the non-payment. They'll get their one-shot deal. They'll slap something together really quickly. And then once they get their money, that's it. That's the end of the repair. So I said, you know what? You're not getting any more money from Kimberly Tyre is my government name, but I prefer to be called Kim.
Okay, Kim.
I said they're not getting any more money from me until this gets resolved.
Wow.
And
That's
now
crazy.
I have the attorney came to represent me in the non-payment case. And I specifically told her to tell the attorney of NYCHA, let me speak to her and tell her that she is not getting anything until everything is resolved in my issue. And I'm to the point where they can resolve every issue in my apartment, because I'm going to bounce when it's time to come collect. I'm going to be gone. I'm going to be gone because all of my children are getting their bachelor's degrees, and I'm getting my master's, and
Yes.
I have a question, because I want to just address the rent strike thing just for clarity. Do you have the money that you should have been paying rent with, like an escrow or some kind of account or something? I just want to clear that up, because that's always a big question.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I have it in a separate account within my bank, because the attorney that I have that's working with NYCHA, she's working from the Neighborhood Legal Services on 77th Street, and she didn't even know anything about having anything in escrow account. But I have my money set aside in account from my bank.
So just to be clear, y'all, she's still paying rent, but she's not giving the rent to NYCHA. So she's putting the money away every month as if she was paying rent to NYCHA.
She's holding it.
So, and she's holding it. She's holding it. She's not spending it. So you can go on a rent strike, but you got to keep paying rent, putting it in escrow. So when the time comes to divvy up, if the time comes for you to divvy up, you go, yeah, I have my rent. Here it is. This is my money. You know what I'm saying?
You could show the judge the account too. I mean, you could actually show it. I want to ask you a question, because I remember you had issues with stoves. you went through several stoves and you had several stoves in your house. Can you tell our viewership about that experience and what happened with the stoves?
There was a situation in February where we had ongoing issues with defective stoves.
Wow.
And the reason why I say defective is because they give you the stove, and in my case and in my situation, they only worked for 2 weeks. And my son would say, "Wow, I just wish we can get a stove that lasts more than 2 weeks." And there was a situation in my house in 2016 where my whole kitchen caught on fire. And I was at the laundry and the kitchen caught on fire. And then subsequently after that, we've been having issues with stove. I've had at least 8 or 9 stoves or more this year.
Wow.
And as a result, I got an injury from one of the stoves because I was cooking on a 1-burner hot plate. Yes, I said it, a 1-burner hot plate. And I don't understand how you're going to cook for family members.
Exactly.
I have 3 family members that are disabled, and it's on the list that they're disabled. And I was cooking with a 1-burner hot plate, and the hot plate caught on fire. It melted, and I still have the hot plate to show to the court when the court opened up. And they called me back in. I still have the hot plates to show them.
Unbelievable. That's horrible. That's horrible.
Incredible.
Did they leave some of the stoves in your house too at one time?
Yes.
How many did you have in your house?
At one point in time, I had two stoves or more in my house. I had 1 stove in the
Does that
living
make
room,
sense?
1 stove in the living room, and I had 1 stove in the
Not at all.
kitchen. And I used to make little jokes about the hot plates. I started giving the hot plates individual names.
Wow. Sorry, man. Oh, that's horrible.
Wow.
That's horrible. It's
That is incredible.
unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
Stan,
Yes.
how long have you known Kim? Because you're the one who actually introduced me to Kim, actually.
I know Kim when I first started organizing for Justice for All, and we were trying to get residents to in Queensbridge particularly to go on a rent strike. So I found out about Kim. I met her at a SECA meeting. She's also a follower of Dr. Falani, who is my mentor. And so I heard her speak at a SECA meeting, and I'm like, wow, she's got the courage to do this. And I'm having all these community meetings in Queensbridge, and I'm talking to the residents, and it was a great fear. None of them wanted to go on a rent strike. We announced if you're not getting just repairs in your apartment, don't pay your rent. And most folks were afraid to really do this because they're afraid of retaliation and all of that. Then we got a lot of clapback from other organizations. Don't tell the residents this, you're giving the wrong information. And then I said, but if you have your money in escrow, you're good. But then I ran into Kim. I'm like, okay, I'm having this hard time in Queensbridge. Organizations are coming against us for telling residents you have the right not to pay rent if you're not getting the proper living conditions. And then Kim is doing this on her own. So I'm seeing all these other residents who are afraid. You had this one woman by herself standing up like that, and had been doing it for years at this point already, and still at that point, NYCHA had not approached her, not really bothered her. She was standing strong. And I just thought that was inspiration. She's like a Rosa Parks, so to speak, for all NYCHA residents who are going through this. If you're not getting the repairs, yes, you have the right not to pay. Because if everyone in NYCHA stopped paying rent, that would catch the attention of the whole entire world. So Kim is one of those residents that I think is a trailblazer. Others should really follow her story. If you're not getting the right humane living conditions, why are we giving them our money? And Kim represents that tenacity, that fight. And then her documentation, as an organizer, I'm sitting there, she had a documentation, everything lined up, so she's a prototype model to me, of what NYCHA residents can do, on their own and take their own power back and stand strong for years, despite all, and still has the money, has the discipline to still have her money. So I think that I think she's just amazing as an example of what all NYCHA residents can do. And we would shock the world if everybody was to follow her footsteps. We would shock the world.
I would like to also add that I met Kim some years ago myself too. Kim is that comrade that rolls with you no matter what.
Yep.
When we did press conferences in front of City Hall, she was there. When we marched to Gracie Mansion, she was there. When we sued NYCHA, she was right there with us. Like, Kim is that person that will ride the train, bus, whatever, walk, whatever. She's right there by your side, and she's supportive. You know what I mean? Like, she's going through her own fight, but she's willing to fight with you for your issues. So, and this is how we empower each other. I believe it's Ann Georgia for Ravenswood, you know, and I did some emailing with her and helped her with something and put her on to stand. She actually said to me, I feel empowered, you know, knowing that I have support. And this is what it's about, because everyone in NYCHA, no matter what we're going through, we are not alone at all. You know, we may not have the same exact issues, but we have issues. And if you don't have any issues in your apartment, God bless you. But you know what? Leaks and things, they eventually show up. So, but with that said, when one suffer, we all suffer. And Kim is just that comrade that's been in this fight. Yes, through Seeker and everything else. I mean, she rolls with you. She's been to not one of our court dates. She's been to several of our court appearances. You know, she's been on our grounds and she's been here and there. You see Kim, you spot Kim in different spaces because she's just there showing up and supportive. And we need more people like Kim that's down for the struggle and the fight, not just for herself, but for you as well. So I'm happy to have my comrade with me today.
Word up.
Kim.
That's
Good support.
that's powerful stuff.
Yeah.
And the thing is, you know, you might not realize it, but you're a walking, living Netflix special. Like it's like you just know that there's going to be the Netflix special. It's like Kim versus New York City housing, you know, because you're actually writing a story that's a very amazing story, number one, and very inspirational. You know what I'm saying? And you're living that story. You know what I'm saying? You're living that story. You're creating, you know, we don't know when we're making history. History is told that we made it, right? Once it's done, then you look back and go, I made history. I did? You know, like you don't know that it's happening as you're doing it because you're in the moment, right? But when this thing is all said and done and you turn back and you look and you're going to be like, yo, I made history, y'all.
Kim Tyre's going to be in the books.
Right. Kim Tyre's going to be in the books as a thorn in NYCHA's side. They're like, yo, we really hated her, but we had to respect it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And you're doing it the right way.
Yeah.
You got your documentation, you know, you're walking into court with your stuff. You're saying, listen, this ain't no, I'm just trying to not pay rent. This is, I'm showing you a real humanitarian crisis that's playing out in my apartment.
Right.
In my apartment. The dog got sick. You know, like that's unheard of.
That I want to hear more about. Like, what was making the dog? What environmental issue in your apartment? What was it? The mold? What did they say the dog? Why was the dog getting sick? Like,
like the dog timed out.
Right. Like, what kind of dog? I know they have dogs that, you know, look for dead people, the cadaver dogs.
Cadaver dogs.
What kind of dog? What scent? What was?
Did he smell?
Right.
That he was like, listen,
the dog
man,
was getting sick. So
I'm not
the
doing
dog
this.
is getting sick.
Incredible.
Like the dog.
If the dog is getting sick,
what's happening to you?
Exactly.
What's happening in the house? Right?
Did they say what's in there? What was it?
The dog quit.
Oh, go ahead, please.
I have a 5-room apartment, so it equates to 3 bedrooms. So the issue was bed bug infestation.
Oh,
so they took the dog to the rooms. He started off, and I told him to start off with the back rooms. And he started off with the back room. And when he got to my son's room, my son has a bunk bed. So when he started sniffing the mattress, and the dog's paused for a minute. So I asked the inspector, I said, what's the matter? He said, is there some way I could put the dog? So I said, what's happening with the dog? So he tied the dog to the front door, and he said, you know, the dog, it's apparent that they're alive, they're well, they're kicking, there's a lot in this particular room. And he tied the dog, and then he went to he gave the dog a minute, and he went to the rest of the room, and he said, no, I can't. That's it. He got his clipboard, and he said, that's it. They're in the whole apartment. You know? And then he left.
Wow.
And he said in Spanish, he said, you got muchos cintas or whatever, chinchitas or whatever, something in Spanish. And I said, what's that? And he said, mucho, yeah, a lot. I said, that means a lot? He said, yes. Then I said, imagine if I could get out of here. Imagine if the dog is afraid, what are we living like?
Right.
And he said, this is the second time that I've been to your apartment. So this is the second time.
Have they rectified this for you?
No, they still unresolved, because I know that they still alive there, because I'm starting to itch again. And when I start to itch again, I know that they're attacking me. And it's ironic because they only eat at me. They don't eat at the children. They only eating at me.
So you have
It's a blood deal.
infestation.
Yeah.
I got tore up by bed bugs once, and it
And
was
that caused me to also lose my hair as well.
Right,
Oh.
right.
the bed
right.
bugs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, the dermatologist has put the seal stamp that that's what's most likely caused the alopecia, which is why my hair is cut short, because I used to have long, beautiful hair when I got to NYCHA.
Oh my
Right.
gosh. This is like, I'm like speechless. Like, where's the help?
And I often don't like to say that part because then people do not like to have a conversation with me. So I'm real mindful of that, but I'm like, it is what it is.
You're in a safe space, and you know what? This is the viewership needs to understand this, because, you know, infestations manifest for several reasons, you know, so, you know, could have been a neighbor or whatever, and that's not unheard of, you know what I mean? Like,
but they usually associate that with cleanliness
Right.
and things of that nature, which there's no issues with that. So
And there's no correlation.
There's no correlation. So I just wanted to make it really clear that it has its pros and cons.
Right. Bed bugs is bed bugs. Let me look in the chat room here. And here's what we got. Because Kim, you know, the chat room's lit up. You ain't in the chat room, and now the chat room's on fire still.
Because she's here.
She's here. That's what's happening. Let's see.
Wow.
Okay. Damn. Okay. I gotta go back home. I gotta blow this up.
Emily says shameful.
Yeah. Let's see what we got. Okay. So you got greetings. Okay, that was you. Okay.
Why you gotta read mine?
Ty. NY bound. We are getting organized. Tenants have to take back our buildings. Lydia Temple says the 2013, this 2013, how many now? Okay, as of 2013, Queensbridge had a total population of 6,105 people. The racial breakdown was 61.4% Black, 2.3% white, and 1.9% Asian. And
1.0 must be other.
Must be
whatever
other.
that is. Yeah.
We can beg, but we must take.
That's right.
These people don't care about our livelihood, and that's New York bound.
Yeah.
She said she wanted to hook up with Kim Tyre. This is the main issue people are having. They don't want to get educated about their rights.
Right. Yeah.
Way to go, Kim.
Yeah.
New York Kim, she's a blessing. Lydia Temple, she did a math equation that's hard for me to read, but 6,100 by $5 equals $30,325. Your respects can do your respects.
Can do this.
Can do this. Your quality of life matters. Times 4 weeks over $122,000 monthly. Yes, Kim, take them on. Okay. New York Bound says, I'd love to connect with you, Kim. Malik Sanders says, I guess trying to say, hey, everyone. What up, Stan? Because it says, can everyone. Okay, you got to watch your text. Lydia says, NYCHA's supposed to, but meanwhile, you can get this documentation done. Alert the news, video your progress, build momentum. You gotta shame them. Actually, news is your power.
Yeah.
Lydia Temple says, you're making it today. Exactly. She commented on the comment. So I am assuming water is not important. That was Ann Watkins, and we know water is super important.
Yeah, water is life for real.
That's insane.
That's it. And Emily Johnson says shameful.
We got to figure out how to help you get help, because you and your family suffer, and you know, this is just unacceptable to live in the conditions, and you know, they supposed to be eradicating it because it could spread. You know what I mean? Like, is it at other people's apartments on your floor? You know, is it above? Is it below? You know, how are those residents doing as well? So, you know, we're here for you, Kim, and we need to do something at Jefferson Houses. We definitely need to do some press or something more organizing. You're not too far from me, so.
Kim, can you talk
Right,
about
Stan, my brother.
Can you tell folks
Oh, wait,
about
sorry.
He's muted.
that
Yeah,
you
there you
had?
go.
Am I mute? Can you hear me?
Yeah, you back. I'm sorry. Stan.
Rubbing your
Kim,
head.
can you tell folks about the experience we had when you went down to the manager's office at Jefferson Houses? I know we're going to do a lot with the residents of Ravenswood and Queensbridge, but I did go down with Kim to Jefferson, and I was shocked. Yeah, but I shouldn't be shocked at the level of disrespect. You know, so Kim, can you speak to maybe some of your experiences when you went to the manager's office and told them what you were going through?
I try not to go to the management office of Jefferson Houses. And the reason why, I try to talk to them over the phone or write them a letter or send them an email, because the ladies in Jefferson Houses management office, they're very rude and they're very disrespectful. And I'm a person, I don't tolerate so much level of disrespect and how they talk to people. They need some further development, training, professional development on how they speak and how they relate to folks.
Facts.
Because when I go in there to them and I go in there to them and I try to talk to them like civilized and professional from a resident to a management office, I get no results. So I don't go in there because I'm the type of person, they say the wrong thing and I might react in a negative way. So I don't go in there and have a conversation with them. And I talk now through my attorney.
Okay,
And when she doesn't get it right, I reiterate to her what I want her to say to them and how I want her to come across, because she doesn't understand it. Because when you a woman of color and you're in a different social class, social economic status,
Talk about it.
they don't get it. And I make sure that they get it because I tell it to her over and over, and I have to reiterate to her, you know, what it is that I need them to do. And when she doesn't get it, I just keep saying the same thing. And how I say it is, I'm just not going to pay. I'm just not paying them until they figure it out. And if it takes them forever to figure it out, it'll take them forever to get paid. And while that is happening, I'm elevating my process and I'm elevating my game and I'm elevating my son's game. We're getting our paperwork, which is our degrees. So when they do come, I'll have that down payment that's supposed to be going to them to go somewhere else. So
go ahead, Kim.
So
Kim gonna stick and move.
So I have, my mother always tell me is another way to skin the cat. And when they take me to, it just so happened they was going to take me to court, but then COVID hit. So when COVID hit, that's what happened. Nothing hit. So that's how I do it, because I don't have the time or the energy to go in and be argumentative with them, you know, about what they need to be doing. Because it's a full-time job fighting with NYCHA. And that's how I go about things.
Wow.
I got to hit the chat room again, because I think what Lydia is saying is that if we all withhold, I think $5 a month out of the rent versus the $122,000, that would be $122,000. That could be used as an emergency fund to help, you know, residents and stuff. I think that's what she was driving at. That's an exterminator, a plumber, a painter, you know, hold the receipts while withholding the rent. Those self-directed need repairs. So I think what she's saying is some sort of like a thing that if we would all put $5 away, you know what I'm saying, out of the rent, then that could be an emergency sort of slush fund for people to have repairs in their apartments. And just let me know if I'm wrong about that, Lydia, but that's what I'm getting from the text. And if not, if you want to explain it, the number is at the bottom of the screen. You can call the number.
It's not on there, I don't think.
Oops.
Wrong show. But you could tell it if you want. If they want the number, tell them to put in the chat, and then you can.
And then I'll text
we could do it. But I want to shout out to Emily, because Emily, and I'll give it to you later when we're on our way, because we came here together. We'll leave together. Emily sent me a number for you to call at the mayor's office, a direct number. Okay. So, all right. Beautiful. So people are trying to, you know, because this is just inhumane and for residents to live like this. And it's just a systemic issues of public housing. Like, they really don't give a damn. You know what I'm saying? And you and your family shouldn't live like this. And Kim is a highly educated woman. You know, you can hear how she speaks. She's trying to better herself through education. And she's just doing the thing, and she wants to help others. But we're gonna stand with you and stand by you for real.
And what is most pathetic about it is that I have went to the public advocate's office on
Talk about it.
several or more occasions. And to my understanding, a public advocate his job is to advocate for the public, and public meaning public housing. And as we march and as we continue to march, I never see him taking a stance. And I'm often confused and baffled why he's the public advocate and he's not advocating for something that's a public issue, which is public housing. And with that being said, I never see him. And I went to his office several or more times with my documentation to his constituent's office, talked to his constituent's office over the phone, in person, and they have done absolutely nothing. And then my council people in my area, Ayala, she gave me her personal commitment, and then she turned around and sent me an email with a highlighted in yellow, like I'm some dumb individual that cannot read. And I called her out because not only I advocate for public housing, I advocate for education, because I'm with Equality for Alliance for Public Education. And I was on the forefront for us getting those billions of dollars that we just recently got.
All right, Karen. Go ahead.
Because I believe, and I know to be true, that housing and education is a correlation, because if you don't have decent housing, you cannot possibly do education. So we fought to get this money, and we finally got the money. And now I want to see it filtered down to the schools that need it the most, because in Harlem, we get crumbs. We get the bits and pieces that's left over when all the other districts get the money that they're entitled to get. And our Black and brown and Latino kids should get a good quality education.
Yes. You in Spanish Harlem? Is it Spanish?
Yeah,
okay.
El Barrio.
Yeah, right. Okay. Yeah, wow.
Your project is on the west side or the east side? You're on the east side.
Spanish Harlem.
Jefferson's on the east side. Okay.
She calling them out. She named them her city council member, our public advocate. She's been there. She has her receipts. She's talking about it, and nothing's being done. And he's the one that does the worst landlord list every year. I was actually on it. My apartment was featured, my bathroom, and my bathroom is so much worse now. But with that said, and he had other residents with public housing, like, don't just do a press conference and put it out there, and it's on private landlords too, and don't do a thing. Don't do nothing about it, because that's who is supposed to be advocating for the public. He's supposed to have a voice for us. You know, the public advocate, to my understanding, is next in line if something happens to the mayor.
Right.
Like, that's a powerful position. Like, come on, you got to do your job. And then we have Bart Schwartz, our public, not the public, he's the federal monitor. But remember, he just issues the reports, you know what I'm saying? But it's up to the NYCHA, the mayor, to adhere to his recommendations. So we still got our hands tied. Like, at the end of the day, we need to start prosecuting NYCHA, whoever it is, from the mayor on down. There's people that are making six figures, sitting up there, getting paid, making these decisions, chair on down, and mayor's accountable too, and they're not doing anything for us. So, and Alika Samuels know what's going on. I know who she is. I know her. I have a direct number, but what's going on with these residents. Like, y'all need to do more. We need this commission. We need to find out what the hell is going on in public housing. People are dying of all types of cancers, from different other ailments, and they may not have gotten it at their jobs. They could be getting it from living in their homes. We could be literally slowly dying in public housing, and this is unacceptable.
I'm gonna have to hit the button, because
I'm tired, man.
And I think Emily, she put something in the chat room. I'm gonna read it. Emily Johnson, she says, they want us to give up and remain hopeless.
Yeah.
Not call them out and hold them accountable. We got them in office.
Vote them out.
We can vote them out.
Yep.
Our quality of life is jacked up.
Yeah. The new
CB11 needs to be accountable as well. Who's CB11?
Community Board 11.
Okay, CB11. Our resident engagement.
Oh, please.
No help.
Please.
You have to get whatever help you can get. Wow.
Resident engagement. That's a joke.
What is that?
They just had
What
an
is that?
election. They're workers, they work for public housing. Somebody could correct me if I'm wrong. Some of them do live in public housing, but they work for public housing. They just did the nominations for homes. Cause I think Queensbridge had something too recently, or they might've had their election. They had nominations at homes. How you gonna have nominations during, this is a pandemic. Okay. You have a group of people in a room in the center. You have the other people on phones, and you have the rest on a webinar. And this is how they did the nominations. So some people didn't even get nominated, and they have some people in the same position running for vice president. But I don't know if that's legal. Then somebody just approached me today that they want me to be a poll watcher or something like that, or monitor or something. And I'm like, well, I don't live in your development. They was like, no, but we know nobody's gonna get by you, because I'm in Isaacs now, but I used to be in Homes. But how can you have nominations like that? People in the webinar said they couldn't hear nothing, they couldn't, of course, see nothing, and it was just disruptive, and they turned the sound down, and then the people in the room, it was all different sounds. Like, who does that? NYCHA. Who does that?
Yeah, sure.
NYCHA. So I can't imagine, but the vote, they all going to be able to vote in person. But that's crazy.
Yeah. Lydia says, sue your council member. She says, sue then, vote is 4 years, sue your council member, file sharing, not accepting you to know you can. So in other words, sue, right? Get out there and sue. Lydia is on fire in the chat room. She's got
Lydia Temple.
Yeah, she's got paragraphs going on. She's like,
Wonder she related to Brenda Temple.
yeah, because Brenda's kind of fiery
She
too.
might not be on yet.
Yeah.
Well,
Yes, Kim.
I
Let's
said
not.
probably, but Lydia is my great aunt.
Oh,
that's
that's
your
your,
great aunt?
that's your people. Okay, all right.
Oh, big
okay.
shout out to Linda.
All right,
Okay.
family. Okay, Temple, you
Okay.
might be related to Brenda. Yeah, you got to check
Right,
that
I
out.
forgot you have a Temple line in your family.
You might be related
forgot
to
about
Brenda
that.
Temple.
Wow,
Talented
yeah.
people.
And you told me that's your who? That's your
Lydia Temple?
Yeah.
That's my great aunt.
Oh,
that's your
wow.
great aunt. Because I remember we were talking about it the other day in the car. You were like, yo, she knows everything.
Okay.
Like from a legal standpoint.
All right.
Like,
okay. We're going to talk. We bringing you on the show.
Yeah. Now that makes sense.
Yeah,
Now I
we're
understand.
going to have to produce that show too.
Yeah, she's on it.
Okay. Go ahead, Kim.
Yeah, Kim.
And don't get it misconstrued. NYCHA has money. NYCHA has money for what NYCHA want to have money for. Because if they have money to pay Gregory Russ $402,000 and plus in salary plus
Right.
bonus, they have money.
Mhm.
Because they did the same thing when they had Miss Shola Alatway.
Mhm.
They paid her a large money, and she got on ABC News, and she was dumbfounded and couldn't even answer the question that was asked upon her. And there was a lady who came from Minneapolis to one of our rage marches, and she
right.
said that they're doing the same thing. Gregory Russ did the same thing over there. So she came to support us here in New York. He has money, and they have money for what they want to have money. And if they have money to pay Russ, they have money to fix our stuff.
Yeah. Give us, you're right.
100%.
You're right.
That's like
And
a slogan.
yeah. And that
That
form,
money to pay Rush.
that former
They
chair.
can,
Yeah.
they can fix us.
Yeah, right? Say it again one more time. Say it again. Say it again one more time,
If
Rob.
they have the money to pay Russ, then they can fix us. That's like a t-shirt slogan.
Yeah, that is. There you go. Let's get it printed with one NYCHA on the back.
There you go. That's it.
Boom.
There you
See,
go.
here you go, bringing more stuff to the table, right?
Come on, Kim.
But that former chair should be prosecuted too. So let's just call it what it is. We need people to be prosecuted. People, like I said, people are sick, people are ill, and everything is going away. And it's one of the facts that because and it has something to do with qualified immunity, but not really. You know what I'm saying? Because you could because they're under the cloak of the law, under qualified immunity, you can't personally sue them. So that's fine, but they still can be prosecuted. So let's see what happens when the new Manhattan District Attorney comes into play, which most likely will be Alvin Bragg. And if there's some criminality there, then we need to start advocating for it because we are the new Flint. I said this, I believe, either 2019 or 2018 at a press conference. We are the new Flint, and we need to realize that. We don't know what they're doing to us. We do not know what they're doing to us. And you said something about one night just some years ago. You want to talk about that?
Oh, Lord.
Yeah.
Well, the one NYCHA
Queen is here.
The one NYCHA coin phrase, I claim to coin that phrase because I never forget the evening when Stan invited me to Justice for All. And I came out to Justice for All and to see what that was about. I think that was the second time I was there. And I met Rock there, and me and Alona was there from the
Rock Logic.
Alona was there from the movement school.
Rock Logic.
And Rock Logic was there, and he was coming out. I never forget. And he was going to, he got up there and he was going to give his presentation, his speak. And as he was talking, I was sitting over there with Alona, and he started talking, and I just blurted out. Like I normally do, I just blurted out one NYCHA, and it became a big phenomenon.
Wow, yeah.
And the reason why I made up that phrase, I coined that phrase, is because we would always, every time we would have marches, everyone would call out their individual development. So I got tired of hearing everyone say the individual development. So I said, why don't we just call it one NYCHA? Because we all in the same boat together, trying to swim and paddle out of our individual situations. And that's where the one NYCHA came out.
That is so crazy.
Yeah.
Because I remember the night, right? And then it became like a chant at that stage again. We were like, one NYCHA!
Yeah, I remember that.
NYCHA! And it was like, hey, we got a show here or something.
And then
Something's happening. Well,
TV. So she was the first guest on the
Yes,
one
she
NYCHA
was.
with
She
Millennium
came on,
TV.
yeah, when
She
we
was
were,
the first guest, I was the second, and then that's our birth thing. Yeah.
right, when we were dealing with
Millennial
TV.
The Bronx.
And we had to change the name to the Power Talk because
Yes,
the guy didn't want no flack,
Yeah.
right? He didn't want to do the one NYCHA thing. And I hated that because
History. We learning history today.
I was so angry
Yes.
about that. And I'm like, nah, this one NYCHA thing is the name. It's a great brand. It's a great name.
Right.
It needs to be that, and it's a culmination of everything. It's like, no, I don't want to get no heat from NYCHA in the city, and they'll shut me down. And I guess he had some sort of, he might have been a nonprofit and might have been getting funding or something, because that seems
He was
like,
just scared. He was scared.
yeah, he was scared. And I was like, oh, whatever. And then we swung back over to Boardwalk Global Media. You know, the question was asked, like, are you going to do one NYCHA? And I was like, you damn right. Like, why wouldn't it be that?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And then we did it.
And then here we are, and it's happening, and it's been happening.
Season 3.
And it's been, you know, and it's been a dope ride. So big shout out to Kim Tyre.
Yeah.
With the one NYCHA.
Yeah. We might
right?
have to talk. We gotta do some talking with you.
Because that's dope. You know what I'm saying?
One NYCHA, one people.
And it is on video, as in it is on video of her saying it, actually. Because it came from like over here. I remember she was off to the right.
And you were able to amplify it.
Yes.
Because you are the man to do that.
I do that.
Yes.
And it was something that happened over here, right?
Over there.
Over to the
right.
Over to the right. You went to my right. And I'm, yeah. She's over to my right. And I heard, and I'm like, yeah, we're going to do that.
That's rock style. That's rock style. If it gets in his ear, it gets into the atmosphere. If it gets in his ear, it gets into the atmosphere.
Bars now.
You didn't know that? Please.
Come on.
I can flow.
So, you know, and off of that, it has become what you're looking at now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Which
It's
is
an honor to have you at the table, my sister.
You know what I'm saying? Because that is just so awesome.
Right.
That
y'all just had a little history lesson.
Yeah, 100. You know what I'm saying? Which is dope. Yeah, I remember the day. Like I got the video on my phone. Like I can see it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it was that kind of moment, and then it just kind of became what you're looking at in the conversation with Stan, and then you know, developing it into a movement, really.
Right.
Right, because the whole idea was for it to become a movement, like what you're saying. Because I remember standing on, there's all these fragmented things, and everyone's got information coming from all over the place. Why can't we just centralize the information into this one NYCHA thing? You know, which is the idea, which is exactly what your thought process. Like we need to centralize the information and. You know, that task has been a little harder than I thought it would be.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. You know, that's not, nobody's losing their identity. That's the thing. And like she said, it was Jefferson, and people were saying the different developments. And it's like, we are one NYCHA. We are one NYCHA, one people. Yeah.
Right. And that has been a bit of a challenge, and people are funny. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, just to say, listen, you're not losing, like with Saundrea, you're not losing your identity.
Right.
We're just trying to centralize the information so we can stop having splintered points of view.
Right.
Because if you look at any people, right, and that are successful, and I'm going to use the Indians as an example.
I just knew you was going there.
Yeah, I'm going to use them as an
I felt that in
example.
my spirit.
There's a reason why all the Indians are in Dunkin' Donuts, right? They made a conscious move.
Okay.
No, listen, there's nothing. They made a conscious move. They said, listen, we're going to take over Dunkin' Donuts, right? And what they did, wherever they had this one thought, they said, we're going to start buying the Dunkin' Donuts franchise. And they did that. It was one move, one thought process. If anybody was like, no, we should do McDonald's, they were like, no, I'm telling you, Dunkin' Donuts, we're going to do Dunkin' Donuts. And they did that, right? The same thing with like the drop-in hotels. They took over those hotels too, the industry. But it was one thought process.
Right.
And no matter what the differences were individually, it was one thought process that created that reality.
Mm-hmm.
And NYCHA has to be that same way. It has to be one thought process that creates that reality. There has to be one voice, that it has to be a collective of voices to give one voice here's our issue, and we stand behind them. The problem with Kim is that she's one voice with a whole lot of action, right? But there's no one standing behind her going, yeah, we're going to rent strike too. Like she's getting, she should be the whisper in your ear.
Yeah,
She should be, yo, you know what? I'm going to do a rent strike and I'm going to do it. And I'm going to call Kim and ask her how she's doing it so I can do it the right way. Right? That should be happening. Kim is like Martin Luther King without millions of people behind her. You know what I'm saying? Like if Martin Luther King stood on the steps of the Capitol with a sign going, I'm for civil rights, they'd have thrown tomatoes at him, right? But when they looked behind him and said, there's 1 million people behind this dude, that's what gave him power, right? Because people is what gives the movement power.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And this is the reason why she's still having these issues in her apartment, because she's a one-man show.
Yeah.
She's doing the whole thing. You know what I'm saying?
And
like,
she's active. She's here. She's there. She's in this movement. She's in that movement. And one of the other things is we have leaders, and Stan and I talk about it often, like, because there is a divide, and honestly, there will always be a divide, no matter how we try to blend it. But we also know that there are issues. So what's more important is the issues at hand. And sometimes it might come down to, because people are leaders and some leaders want to remain at the helm, right? You know what I'm saying? I get that. But you can break things up. So let's say somebody can deal with mold. Like we need to assign different issues within public housing and let different groups or sets head that up and still come to the table, because what's the use of having a press conference and everybody speaking about the same thing? And that's my vision, to have the next press conference, whenever we do something big, people have assigned issues to talk about, because that's how the message gets conveyed, because it gets twisted when you and I are still talking about the same thing. It's just coming off different.
That's
But
right. Yeah.
shout out to you, Kim, though.
Yeah, come on, man. Real talk. She's like the Rosa Parks of NYCHA.
We almost there.
Oh,
Stan.
Yep.
Talk.
You ain't said nothing, Stan, the whole time.
He's on vacation.
I don't care if you're on vacation.
Thank you for coming on, brother, for taking that time out during your family reunion.
Even though I'm in South Carolina, this is a NYCHA, never leave. But as an organizer, sometimes you do got to take a break and take care of you for self-care. Because this fight will wear you down. And so I did take the time to do that. But I'm coming back, fired up, ready to go. The little break did me well. Got some rest.
When
I'll be back tomorrow night. I have a meeting on Tuesday. We're doing a Zoom from the airport. I'll be on my 7 committee meeting. So the work never stops, and I'm inspired by residents like Kim. If she can go to all she goes to, and then come and speak at a Justice for All meeting, and then come speak at that particular meeting, and has her own personal stuff going on, but can be an example, then I just think that's amazing. So if she can do that, then as an organizer, I have no excuses.
Right.
As anyone else, that's in this fight, you have no excuses. And I just want to reiterate that if residents in NYCHA all came together and said, I'm living in inhumane conditions, and I stopped paying my rent, and I have my money in escrow, that will light a fuse around the whole entire country. You know, the
Mm.
whole world will pay attention to that. And NYCHA will be forced to have to respond, you know, to answer that. You know, so I just wish we had 100 more Kim Tyres. If we did, this fight would be much further advanced than what it is. You know, so Kim, you know, you keep it up. And I think people watching the show will be encouraged to want to do it. If you have your money in escrow, you cannot be evicted. I want to state that again. If you're holding your money and you have your money in escrow, you cannot be evicted. That is your absolute right. You know, and
I'm gonna go a step further here, Stan. How do you set up an escrow account? What is the logistics of doing that?
I mean, normally, if we were not in these times we're in, a lot of lawyers are not really operating. The lawyers normally would set it up. You would give the money to a lawyer, and he would hold it in this escrow account. But all the escrow account is an account that holds your money. You can have an escrow account in your dresser drawer. You know, you can have it as long as you have the money. So lawyers normally do this to make sure that people don't be tempted to spend the money. They know that life just come up. You know, so they say separate yourself from the money by putting it in an account that a lawyer overlooks. But I love the fact that Kim was able to do that, you know, because the lawyers were not operating during the pandemic. We tried it. You know, we also spoke to other residents about maybe y'all setting up your own escrow account, and that's been a bit tricky, you know, but the reality of it is, as long as you have your money, I mean, if your money is in a checking account, that's an escrow account. You know, if it's in that account and it's sitting there, you know, and when the judge calls you, you can produce it, then you are within your legal right. You know, so I just want to tell people, yes, you should strike, but hold on to that money. And Kim is a perfect example of how you do that and how that works for you. We need 100 more Kim. Kim Tyre.
And she also took them to court, which is the HP Housing Parts action lawsuit. So that's very important too, because that's another tool. If you don't want to withhold your money, you can take them to court and sue them, you know, and Kim did that as well. That's what we did collectively, but you're welcome to do it by yourself as an individual, or get a group of people and do a group HP action. And a group consists of a few people, right? It could be 10 or more or 5, you know, and it's powerful, because when the judge calls the case in the beginning, you know, it's all the names are there, and you go to court and you know, it is a process, and it's not a quick process, and you should have an attorney to do it, but you can also do an HP action on your own or with a group without an attorney, you know, but you need the legal representation, which is very important. So I'm proud of you, Kim, for doing that as well, because I think once our case is resolved, some of us are going to go back into court for HP action also on our own. We're going to take NYCHA to court. You have to, because our judge never held them in contempt. You know,
and y'all got to understand, and I'm just going to say this to the general audience, that, you know, you're living in fear, right? That if you do this thing, that maybe you'll get evicted, or you don't want to, or NYCHA will impose their intimidation tactics upon you and all of this other stuff. But let's talk about what you're afraid of, right? And the end result is you losing your apartment, right? Mm-hmm. This is what you're afraid of. But here's the deal. If you stay silent, you're going to lose your apartment anyway.
That's right.
This is what they're doing to you because they want to get you out of the apartment, right?
That's right.
You got to get clear. You're going to lose. All right, stay silent, lose your apartment. Fight, possibly win, save your apartment, or lose your apartment. You understand what I'm saying? Like, if you stay silent, you definitely are going to lose your apartment because of the blueprint, because of RAD, because of all these programs that are designed for you to get out of your apartment. They're making you deliberately uncomfortable so you will leave your apartment. They're giving you substandard workers and appliances to make you uncomfortable so that you will leave your apartment. Please understand.
You lose your protections.
Right. The big plan is to get you out of your apartment. But if you want to save your apartment, then you got to join this fight. And you got to be vocal about this fight. And you have to take action in this fight. That's the deal. Do the rent strike. Figure out how to do it the right way.
Or HP action.
Right.
Too.
Or the HP action, because nobody cares about anything except for money. When you talk about money, people, money care about money. And right now, you're still paying your rent, and all, and they're not feeling that. They're not feeling that, right? They're not feeling Kim. Kim is just a thorn in their side. They're not feeling Kim because Kim is one person.
Right.
When y'all are paying millions and billions of dollars in rent, right? They're like that. Kim's not even on the radar in terms of what they're missing, right? I mean, Kim's on the radar because Kim is in their face, but they're not going, damn, we missing that Kim Tyre rent. You know, like they're not. That's not happening. Yeah. So if you guys all join in and become a Kim Tyre, and they start feeling that, and they're like, yo, hold on.
Fight. Housing is a human right. Fight.
Right.
Housing is a human right. Fight. God, I'm sorry.
If they once they feel if they felt a 1% difference in the rent, they'd be like, 1% is a lot of money. 10%, you damn near collapse in NYCHA. You know what I'm saying? So
also the lawsuits too, bringing them into court, multiple cases. That means they're one or two NYCHA lawyers, housing lawyers. They're gonna have to hire more lawyers. So that's where they get hit too. You know, they're bombarded. And if a lot of people are taking them to court, that is also a great action, and we should.
So you guys, please, you know, I just wanted to say that before we got off the air. You know what I'm saying? Like, if this couldn't have been a better show to show you that you can do it without being evicted, right? That you can do it, and she's doing it, and they still have not fixed her apartment. You know what I'm saying? So you ain't got to think,
she did everything.
Maybe I won't do it, and then they'll come and fix my place. No,
she did everything. Though.
Right.
She did both. She did both of them.
So come on, y'all, like.
And she's still living, you know, in that manner.
And it's not her fault that they're not fixing. It's y'all's fault because y'all don't join in the fight. That's the deal. Everybody's got to get in that fight and put, you know, action to this situation and really hit them where it hurts.
To Kim Tyre press conference.
Absolutely, because like Rock just said, they can put me on the sidewalk, one person, but if we did it in mass amount of people, I do believe that would make a difference in it.
Yeah,
but I'm still doing it regardless of whether I got one person or I got 50 people. I'm still doing it.
That's called resilience.
And then when they call me in there, then that's when y'all flood the court down. That's when y'all shut the court down.
We with you. You know, we with you. We with you.
I'll be right there.
Yeah, all the time.
Well, listen, we've hit it. We've done it. Right?
We did it.
We've done that hour.
Good information, Kim. Thank you for coming out. We're going to enjoy our ride back home to the Manhattan.
Yes, indeed. And I'm so glad to meet you again in person because we met a few times already. You know what I'm saying? So, and it's good to meet you again in person. And I'm glad you came to the new studio. And before I change it again, because I'm about to change it and make
come back to the newer studio.
Yeah, I'm gonna have a newer studio that we're about to do. So, Stan,
safe travels, brother.
See you on the flip side on the way back. You know, you ladies get home safe.
Yeah.
Mike Jones, I will see you tomorrow at 8 o'clock in the morning at Research and Service to continue to build that school's music system, right? The production. And I'm out. So we do the One Night to One People. One night to one people, y'all.
One night to one people. Thank you for tuning in.